What's up, everybody? We are here with Amanda and Zarina from DXP. Ben and I are so excited to talk to them about their marketing strategies and how marketing works at a huge logistics company, because I've worked with them for 5 years and I still only have a small vision of like what I helped them with. So I'm so excited to have them tell us all about it. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, these are people that are in it every day. You guys give us a little give us a brief like 30-second intro or arc as to like your education, what you've done and what you're doing now for the company.
I'll start. I'm Amanda McKinney. I've been with DXP for close to 18 years now. So close to 18 years. Marketing director is the title I hold today, but I've started out with DXP as a marketing intern, and I've just lived and breathed DXP since then, and just kind of grown up in the ranks. You know, it's how the culture is here, is that we bring people, they bring people in and they grow people, and it fosters a family environment. It's been a good experience.
Nobody's with a company for 18 years anymore. That's awesome. That says a
Yeah,
lot. That
it's
says a lot
pretty
about
rare.
you and a lot about the company. That's great.
Pretty rare.
Would you also just like tell everybody like about DXP? Because I feel like even though you guys are a pretty large industrial company, outside of certain select industries, people don't really know who you are.
Yeah. I mean, we're a distribution company, so we're an industrial distributor is what we call ourselves. That's a very broad term. But basically we sell to a lot of different industries. Oil and gas used to be one of our most prominent industries that we were supporting and selling things to keep that industry up and running. And then over the last 10 or so years, DXP's done a really good job to diversify itself into a lot of other industries. So, you know, we sell any product that these industries need to keep their operations up and running. So that can mean a lot of things. So DXP does a lot of different things, and it can be a challenge for us as marketers, because we're constantly learning about what it is we're doing out there. We're constantly being students to what it is that they need our help marketing.
Yeah, you got to learn new customers, new product. Yeah, that's
Right.
a lot.
Yeah.
Zarina?
I'm the creative manager for DXP in the marketing department. I've been here 2 years. I come from originally a fine art background, but I went back to school for graphic design several years ago, and I worked for a lot of different companies. But I've been with DXP now for 2 years, and I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely been a challenge learning and understanding the industry. It's very complex. It's not like restaurants or
Right.
fashion or
Right.
that everybody kind of can understand. So I'm always learning, but it gets easier. So,
Yeah,
really
I would say
enjoyed it.
just in doing the projects that I've only been able to work with you guys for the last year or so, since Trey's been on full time, and we've gotten some projects from you, and it is, y'all do a lot of stuff, and it's as a fellow marketer, to me, that's always super impressive, that you can manage all these different customers and all these different products and all these different, silos of things that you have to work through and also your internal marketing and figure out how to make all that stuff click. And I think that's what we kind of wanted to talk about first with you guys a little bit is like, what types of marketing are you using? Are you doing a lot of video? Are you doing a bunch of digital? Are you guys doing print? Because I know you do trade shows, you do all kinds of stuff. So can you give us like just an encapsulation of the different types of marketing that you're actually involved in and what really helps to kind of drive your sales initiatives? Maybe what drives some of your internal stuff too, and what's really working for you right now?
Yeah, I would say we're doing all of that. All the things that you mentioned, we're doing digital, we're doing social. We're very sales driven. So our sales teams tend to drive a little bit of what it is that we focus on here in the marketing team. So that is where we get a lot of our focus is from our sales teams and things like that.
Well, I was going to say Google Ads has been a big push for us lately.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
guys are doing paid ads.
Yeah, so we've really stepped a little bit further into Google and, just trying to figure out the dynamics of that and learning how we can make that work for us. Being that we have so many different products across so many, different silos, it's hard to focus in on one thing. So, we kind of we've been trying to take a few different things that we could really hone in on and get good at and get Google to start doing the work for us and
Sure.
bringing us the leads that we want. I mean, if you're looking for something, what's the first thing you do? You're going to Google it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge focus for us. And then we kind of flipped that switch and made it a bigger focus. And we're seeing a good return.
Good for
When
you
did you
guys.
guys start flipping that switch?
Probably been about a year and a half, 2 years maybe, that we've really started, like, anytime we had a new initiative that we were getting, from our sales teams or from anywhere in the organization where they're saying, okay, we're really going after this specific type of product because of this shift in an industry or something like that. Anytime we hear of something like that, we're just kind of like throwing that into our typical process of, we're creating content around that. We're seeing how we're hitting on, the Google keywords. We're just kind of hitting all of those markers. And
Yeah.
we weren't doing that 2 years ago. Like, we were creating the content and we were putting it out there, but we weren't necessarily like bringing in the people who were looking for it.
I feel like, Trey, every time we get into a conversation with anybody, it devolves immediately into AI. But I've got to ask you this because it's fresh on my mind because we're working with somebody else. And actually, we're looking to do this for ourselves. And we're doing a bunch of, organic SEO stuff and a lot of, the best practices and all those things. There's always like ways to do things right, the white hat and making things happen. But are you guys doing a bunch of AI optimization too? Has that come across your radar yet? Or are you strictly just in the ad buying kind of space?
I mean, I would say some of the tools we're using
Yeah.
have some AI in them.
Yeah.
Sort of unofficially, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're aware of it. You're seeing it. It's on your radar. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. I mean, ChatGPT is one of my best friends in just like my personal life.
Totally.
I ask it everything. But yeah, as far as for work, it's like a fine line, to where you don't want to completely rely on something like that. But it's definitely a tool.
Where do you think all these podcast questions came from? We didn't write these, guys. These are AI.
ChatGPT does.
Yeah, we chat GPT them.
Well, are you doing all of that ad buying internally, or are you working with another company to do that? Because I think that's one of the interesting things is you guys are such a huge company and it's kind of, a very small marketing team that does all of this work.
Yeah, we have an agency that we work with that kind of manages that process for us. And they help with other initiatives as well. So we do have that support. But yeah, I mean, we're pulled in a lot of different directions. We have to kind of dip our toes into a lot of different things. Sometimes you kind of feel like you're just like your head is spinning. There's so many people coming at you, but that's just kind of how it is. And we reach out for help when we need it, but for the most part, we make it work and we're growing.
Well, you guys,
We're a small marketing team. So since I've been here for my entire life, I can speak to the fact that we've grown a lot. When I first started here, I think there was 3 of us in the marketing team, and now we have 7 to 8, kind of depending on need. But so we're growing. But yeah, we definitely rely on some outside.
I'm willing to bet
help.
that in relation to other companies that are doing the revenue that you are is still a very small number. And
it is.
I don't know if you guys know this because you're in it, and especially you, Amanda, because you've been there for the majority of your career, but it's super uncommon for a marketing team to be responsible for events and sales and ad buy. And like that is not you don't see that a lot unless it's a really small company. to where you guys have a lot of responsibility across a lot of different markets, and that's a lot to ask from 7 people, to like, okay, wrap your head around all of these things and make them all
Yeah.
work. That's a lot. You guys should be pretty proud, because there's not a lot of people that are doing that much heavy lifting to make that kind of stuff happen. So talk to us about like the big successes. Like, what are things that you've seen in the last 12 to 18 months? I love the idea of like pushing over to like ad buys and maybe outsourcing some of that, because you're like, hey, do the legwork for me, show me what's popping.
Right.
Here's our ad spend. Anything else in like video or digital that's been like a big success for you guys, where you're like, wow, that actually really moved the needle for us?
Yeah. So we do a lot of events. You kind of hit on the fact that we do trade shows, we do events. So we do quite a few corporate events that we plan in our department from like A to Z. So one of them that we do yearly is a customer appreciation event that we throw each year. We invite customers to come in. It's 1,000+ people. We feed them, they get to visit with vendors, they learn about new products that they didn't know we sell. And a lot of times we hear about a lot of success that comes out of that, because we'll have people that are bringing a customer in that typically only buys maybe safety products from us, and they see, wow, I didn't even know you did all of these different things. So that tends to be an event that we put a lot of time and effort and energy into, and we continue to see good results from. It feels good for us to feel like we put that energy into the right place.
And it
That's
pays off.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have been adding more video to our, like, we've had, you guys come out to our events and create video content from that, which is, I think, is a little bit of a newer thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just incorporating that has been,
Yeah. That
been
customer
great.
appreciation video was great. I love that you guys did that, because not only did you do the event and you invited people, and for you it was a win for sales and for introducing people to new divisions, but then when you create a piece of content out of that and put it out into the world, you show other potential customers like, hey, this is how we feel about our customers. This is something we do for them. And then they see that, and then that becomes, they kind of get a little, foot in the door to your culture and what, your beliefs are and how you are as a brand. And it's super authentic. You're not like having to script it or write it or make it up. It's like, this is real. This is what we do. And that plays really well. I thought that was a great video. It was really fun to watch that. Everybody was smiling. They're happy. They're like, it was cool.
Yeah,
And
for
Trey,
sure.
you got to go and shoot that, didn't you? You were there.
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it looked fun.
It was really fun.
It looked awesome.
Trey's been at quite a few of our events, so he kind of gets it. He sees the culture, and he, blends right in there.
Because you both come from really divergent backgrounds, like Zarina coming from fine arts and Amanda like kind of being in the trenches your whole career. So I would assume that you guys have very different ideas of things that you like to produce or you feel are worthwhile to produce. But what are the things, like, what are each of you individually, what are your favorite, like, if you could just take one section, you're like, okay, this is what I want to do from now on, digital, video, print, whatever. What are the things that you think you would gravitate towards, and why would you go in that direction?
You want to go first?
And I won't tell your bosses, okay? You're still going to do everything, but we just want to know, like
we quit.
I mean, from a design perspective, I would say, I came from a print background. I do love print. We don't use it as much, obviously. Although I would say probably compared to some companies, we do have a need, especially for trade shows. We have printed materials and banners and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I love doing like brochures and just layout and putting a lot of information together that can be almost like a puzzle, like how is this going to fit together so that it makes sense to the person looking at it and also feels on brand, but also feels exciting. It's just kind of like figuring that out is probably what I love most.
Can I just say that not anybody can do that, and Zarina's very good at doing that.
For
because
sure, yeah.
Our salespeople, they want to put every single word.
That's right.
Yeah, on every single thing. And she's very good at, making sure it's just the important things and making it lay out. Even if she does have to fit every single word, she's gonna make it look good.
That's definitely a challenge here. So everybody wants to get all their words in because they're so important. And
Zarina's the only one in your office that understands the importance of proper kerning. That's what we'll just say that she knows.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Actually,
have you heard that from other people, Ben? Is that like...
No, I mean, Zarina and Emily would probably be best friends. So our creative manager she's almost 100% layout. I mean, she does do some original design and stuff too, but her she is everything you just said could have come out of her mouth. She loves that part of it, like putting things together and like making it fit and making it work. And she's very much, she has a very similar mentality. So it's funny to hear you say that.
You see that it's something that's like a talent, like it's
hugely,
huge talent, for sure.
You should see the mock-ups that I draw up on a piece of paper. And then I hand it to them and they just laugh at me like I'm a toddler. And then they'll take it and make it into something really nice because I just get completely destroyed by Corey and Emily. What about you, Amanda? What do you like doing the most?
I would say for me, I love doing events. So planning the events from A to Z, like all the little details involved. It's not something that I was good at when I first would have started in marketing because of the amount of detail, the amount of communication, but I feel like since it's something that challenges me a little bit, it's exciting.
What a good team. You guys are a good team.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
And I would say,
each other.
like kudos to you. Like the events, I'm not as involved in the events. So when I do attend and see them, like every little detail, like from the flower on the table to like signs in the entryway. I mean, it's all so cohesive and well put together. And I can even just into the 2 years I've been here, I can see like the progress or the progression because just having more people to help with, they've done like just everything's just gotten better,
my experience with your events is that they're incredible. I mean, they're really, really fun to be at. You have great music and you always have great food and everybody is super happy. Like it's always it doesn't ever feel like it's a work event, everyone's just having an awesome time.
But that's what we talked about this in a past podcast where, for us as an agency, because we do a ton of events, right? And we do a lot of design for events too. So we may be out doing a live broadcast from an event, but we may also have branded that event and we've done all of the signage. We've done everything all the scenic, everything that you see, we designed, managed the print on. And we talked about the importance of those small details, like that flower on the table or the kerning in that sign. Like you don't know why it looks good and you don't know why you felt that way when you left the event, but it's because somebody took the time to manage all of those little details so that when it went off without a hitch, the AV was great, the band was great, the lighting was cool, the signage looked great, and you leave it and you go, man, that was awesome. You have no idea why, but it's because people like you, someone that knows the events really well, someone that knows how to make things look right on your signage and stuff. And that leaves an impact on people and makes a difference. And I wish more people would take the time to do that instead of just saying, oh, well, we got to put this meeting together. Just hire some company to do AV. Just have the print shop do the signs. Let's just throw them out. And then you like what? That's your face to your employees. You can see the difference
when you go to an event that's, just kind of like thrown together.
100%.
They counted on the people at the hotel or whatever it was. But for sure. But it's such a team effort. I mean, that's the thing with events. Like you were just saying, the signage, all of it. It's a huge team effort. And it's, you have to orchestrate it to come together perfectly.
Yeah, it is like
So I was going to ask you guys, like, what do you wish more people in the industry understood? But I think we just hit on all that. I wish, like for me, I wish that people understood that or felt that it was that understood that was something you could achieve and that you could just put in a little more effort or hire somebody that did put in that effort and get so much more out of those events because you spend all this time planning and putting money into this and doing all this. But if you don't see the details, it just falls flat. And it
Right.
happens a lot. And I think that's probably the majority of the time is that it falls flat, you know?
Yeah, and then you leave that event and you don't have the feeling that you wanted the people
No.
to have when they were there, you know?
Absolutely. I'm with you guys. So how are you measuring success? Like from a campaign perspective, from an event perspective, that's going to be a little bit different. From a sales perspective, I mean, obviously you can look at sales numbers. I'm sure you have metrics. I'm sure you guys live and die by that stuff, but what's kind of your go-to metric for measuring your success as an organization? What are you looking at?
I guess it's different, but
Yeah.
depending on the, you know, the campaign or the initiative. I mean, events, you know, how many people came, how many
Yeah.
people showed up.
Yeah.
We've done like surveys,
Surveys. Oh,
post-event surveys to see, you know, what kinds of things people liked or maybe what they didn't, or
Yeah, and that's how you improve on the next one.
yeah.
Google ads, you know, you're measuring with Google, you're measuring with Google Analytics, you're seeing
Sure.
if you're getting those pages up to the first, you know, the search page. You want to be
Right.
at the top of that list, things like that. So there's always places that we're trying to like measure how well we're doing. You know, there's not everything doesn't have an ROI in marketing, and that's what can be difficult to do the job that we do. Is everyone wants to know what's my return, and you're not always going to know. Sometimes it's just the feeling that you got after that event, and you're like, everyone had a great time, you know? So
It's not always instant, right? But
Yeah.
Trey,
Yeah.
can you mark this tape? Because I want to take that quote and like, that is something to live and die by. It's like, there's not always an ROI on marketing, and it's not always an immediate ROI. Like you may see it down the road, but like to build culture and to build these things, it's not an immediate thing. And it's not going to be like, oh, well, it was this. It's like, well, we'll do a bunch of these, or we'll, you know, stay consistent with this branding or consistent with this idea.
yeah.
And it may be down the road, but again, it's
Right.
something that just like you said, you know, it's not always it's not like, boom, here it is. This is what you got from that. It's like,
right,
maybe you
and
don't
it's
know.
very hard to track. You know, trade shows has been a really hard one for us to track our ROI from. And you know, sometimes I hear about a huge sale that happened from a trade show from 2 years ago. They
Yeah, 'cause
got a
when does the
contact at a trade
conversion,
show.
right?
Yeah, and
Where's the conversion? You don't know. Yeah.
we lose it a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's happening, but we aren't always able to have it, you know, in our back
Tie it
pocket.
directly to, oh, they met with Trey on June 10th, and 2 years later, that's where the sale came through. Well, it may not have been. It may have been that they met with Trey, then they saw your customer appreciation video, then they came to another event and everything was awesome and everybody was happy. Then they went to something else. Then they logged
Right.
online and saw something, you know, and then that's when that conversion happened. Yeah.
That also makes me think, how do you communicate and like manage the communication with your sales team? Because obviously those guys live and die by a very obvious metric, which is how many
how
sales
much money they're making.
Yeah. You know, and so it sounds like at your company, you are having to support them. And then sometimes they don't even like come back and tell you like, oh yeah, by the way, I made the sale.
No, actually, yeah, we never hear that. That would be nice.
Yeah,
though, actually.
very rarely do we hear about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even really think about it, but it would be cool to just get like a little like feedback. Like
They're in the wild
Yeah.
west. This is a very entrepreneurial culture.
Sure.
So they're all kind of like running their own book of business and they're doing their own thing. And then we only hear about it on a very rare occasion.
Yeah. I bet you hear if they don't like what they're getting from you. Though.
For sure.
Yes.
That's terrible.
Definitely.
What about, so there's, in the B2B space, and you can take any portion you want from events to design to sales to anything. But if you were to leave some like imparting advice from your years of experience, from what you've done to a fellow B2B marketer, what would that be? What could you leave them with?
I'm not prepared for this.
You've given a ton already. You could just summarize what you said and you'd be in good shape, you know?
Well, I would say just to like really understand the company you're working for, like really, and if it is something complex like what we do, just try and like learn from your colleagues or, you know, read trade publications, go to trade shows. I mean, there's just, because I feel like every month I'm kind of like grasping something new, and
Sure.
it really helps so much because you can understand marketing and design and how that works, but you have to be able to apply it to the, the business you're working for
Yeah, it has to.
effectively. So
Sure.
yeah,
I agree.
I would say, yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
stereo.
I guess I'll just add to that and just say, like, I've really only worked at DXP in my professional career. But the reason that I've stayed here, one of the many reasons that I've been here as long as I have, is because of our culture. And so I like what you said. And I think just like plugging into the people that work here.
Yeah.
So we call ourselves, one of our taglines is the X is for experts, because we say that, everyone that works here is an expert in something. And so just kind of like plugging into the experts that are around you, like, and, trying to learn from them, and, or like, say it's a project you're working on. I'm not going to know about,
Right.
X, Y, and Z.
That's right.
So I guess that would be my advice, would just be to like plug in to the experts, kind of like what you said, but just adding on to
That's
that.
great advice. And
And
it's something.
yeah, and I think I just like adding on to that is I think one of the things I've really liked about DXP is that everybody is very good at relying on others to do what they do best. And nobody really micromanages here. Everybody's allowed to kind of come in with their ideas, their expertise, and apply it. And it's collaborative still, but it's not like you're getting, just second guessed all the time or questioned. It's very like, okay, you got hired to do this, do it, do a good job at it. And
Yeah.
so
That's awesome.
that's been
Yeah.
really nice. It's not always the case.
It is not. That is not the standard. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
are in a good spot if that's.
It's
that's what's
amazing how
going on.
often you hear people say, yeah, I got hired to do this. And then I have to do exactly what a person in a different role tells me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or people that will just box themselves in and go, well, this is my job and that's all I'm going to do. Like I will not do anything
that
outside
too.
of that. Yeah.
Right.
That's,
I think we're all really good at jumping in with whatever's needed, and also prioritizing whatever we're here to do.
But these are, so I think that my two big takeaways from this, and these are really nice because they're very universal. And I feel like we can apply this across so many different platitudes, from like working internally to hiring somebody external to being a marketer to B2B to video to whatever. But there's not always an immediate ROI. Sometimes it's a long-term strategy, which was just, I love that quote. It's one of the best things I've heard this year on doing this podcast. The second one is to plug into the culture, like really make sure that you understand the company, what you're doing this for, what the mission is, why you're all doing this together. And gosh, those two things together just breed authenticity. They feel very real and very alive. And I love that. That was awesome. Well, Trey, we're pushing 30 minutes here. I don't know if you've got some closing thoughts or if there's anything else you want to get, because you've got a lot more experience working with them than I have, but I've enjoyed this a lot.
Great. Yeah. My takeaway would be, your strategy of using events to push all of your other marketing channels, I think that's really important. People want to talk to who they're doing business with, and they want to,
I want to see them.
like really know who you are. And you guys do a great job of portraying that in your events. And I think that any company should take that away, as like, we should really lean into letting people know what we authentically believe in.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
For sure.
That is awesome. What about you guys? Any closing thoughts? Anything for aspiring marketers, for any B2B people? You've left us with some good food for thought, but I want to let you have the last word.
Yeah, no, I think just, I think it's good to like stay with the company and not just bounce around if you feel like you enjoy the culture. That would be maybe my closing thoughts, because that's kind of something that I get asked all the time. When people see how long I've been with DXP, they're like, why, and so I don't know. I think it's rare for people to do that anymore, to like just dig in and kind of like learn everything and try to work up through the company. It's not always possible. I understand that, but
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say if you're coming out of school, you're going into a new role, just kind of like spread your wings and show what you can do. I mean, I think it's just rare these days for people to come into a company and like go outside of their role, not to step on toes, but to just be like, hey, I can do this. Like, let me show you what I can do type of thing. And it's a breath of fresh air when you see that out of the young people. That was my words of advice.
Zarina, any final thoughts? You feel good? You've said it. You've said a lot, so I don't.
Okay.
You left us with some good
I
stuff.
mean, this is really fun, actually.
We'll come back.
I did jump around from job to job, but I'm hoping that this will be.
I'm not saying you
my
can't do that.
She just put you on blast.
I just don't. I think most people do that nowadays.
It was just sort of out of various.
Well, I think maybe the bigger lesson is when you're looking for jobs, your role and like what you are getting paid isn't necessarily the most important thing if you're looking at future long-term growth. It's the culture of the company.
Hey, there's not always an immediate ROI.
That.
We just brought it full circle, guys. We got to stop them right now. We have to stop right now. Nobody say anything else. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, seriously, thank you guys so much. This was awesome. Really good stuff. This is so
thankful that you're here, and we can't wait to see you in real life.
Yeah.
Go follow DXP on social.
Yeah.
You can see what we're up to.
Do it. All right. We'll see you guys in the Woodlands next week.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for talking.
Thanks.